All right, this is USN10 for Tennessee State Standard US.1414. This standard focuses on progressivism, mainly this group of people called muckrakers. So we're going to have to move quick to get this in for 10 minutes. There's a lot of information in US.14. So the first thing that we got to go through with US.14 is we've got to look into this idea of progressivism. All right, so what progressivism is a reform movement that is going to try to change America. All right, and it was a direct result, all right, of the Gilded Age. Remember, the Gilded Age is this time period in American history where everything is super corrupt. We have just corruption everywhere, and the progressive movement is going to look to change all of that. So the first thing you have is you have two guys who are considered progressive idealists, meaning they want to push forward these progressive ideals to make America a better place. The first one is Robert La Follette. All right, Robert La Follette. I spelled that wrong. There's only one F in his name right there. There we go. All right, so Robert La Follette. Who Robert La Follette is, he is the governor of Wisconsin, and he is considered the poster child for the progressive movement, meaning he is probably one of the best examples of the progressive movement. And he did a lot of progressive things in the state of Wisconsin. One of the first things that he did that was super progressive is he believed in conservationism, meaning he is going to try to save the environment to create national parks. And that's a big, big thing. The second thing is he's going to fight corruption. Okay, he's going to try to make politicians not as corrupt, not to take bribes, and to be there to really serve the people. And the third thing that he's going to do is he's going to fight against railroad monopolies. Much like the Grangers had done, he's going to fight railroad monopolies. All right, so that's your first progressive idealist. Your second one is none other than my absolute favorite U.S. president, Teddy Roosevelt. All right, and Teddy Roosevelt is one of the three progressive presidents that we have. And he's probably the best example of a progressive president. One thing that he believed in is he believed in what was called the square deal. And the square deal was basically his philosophy on what he wanted to provide for America. And it contained 3 C's. Okay, this is just kind of what made up the his square deal. So the 3 C's, these are the things he wanted to do. The first C is to control the corporations. All right, so he wanted to control the corporations. The second C is consumer protection. Consumer protection. And the third C is conservationism. Okay, so these are the 3 things. So conservationism was the third one. Those are the 3 things that Teddy Roosevelt wanted to achieve. And those 3 things are a perfect example as to why he's a progressive. He's trying to progress America, to make America a better place. Now, the next part of this standard looks at this group of people called muckrakers. Okay, and muckrakers are really, really important to the progressive movement. So what a muckraker is, it's a journalist, it's a writer. That could be a newspaper writer, or maybe they just write books. They don't have to work for a newspaper or a magazine. But muckrakers, what they do is they try to find the bad in society and write about it to change it. Let me say that again. They try to find the bad in society and write about it to change it. They're not trying to do things to become famous or to become rich. They're trying to cause change. All right, that's what they're all about, is this idea of positive change. And because of that, they become kind of the engine, if you want to call it that, for the progressive movement. All right, so let's just put down that they are the engine, if I can write, I'm having troubles here. All right, they're the engine for progressive. Okay, so they're going to be the driving force behind the progressive movement. And you have 3 famous muckrakers that you have to know. The first muckraker, I'm going to put him down here at the bottom, is Lincoln Steffens. All right, Lincoln Steffens. And who Lincoln Steffens is, he is a writer, and he is going to write a book. It's called The Shame of the Cities. All right, and The Shame of the Cities, what that book was about that you need to know about it is about the link between big business and the government. So it was about the link between big business and the government. And the name of his book was called The Shame of the Cities. And so he writes about how big businesses are controlled by the government with the hopes that he's going to cause change, that's going to be stopped. And it was, okay? The government investigated and they found out that what he was saying was correct. The next muckraker that you have is this lady called Ida Tarbell. All right, Ida Tarbell is a muckraker. Once again, she's going to investigate a company called Standard Oil. The name of Ida Tarbell's book is The History of the Standard Oil Company. It's the history of the Standard Oil Company. And with her book, she really delves into why this company, Standard Oil, is evil. And she goes through her book and tries to show, and she does successfully, all the bad that Standard Oil is doing, about how corrupt they are, how they're a monopoly. And because of her book, it leads to Standard Oil being deemed a monopoly and being broken up. So once again, they're causing change. The final muckraker is this guy called Upton Sinclair. All right, so Upton Sinclair is your final muckraker. And who Upton Sinclair is, he writes a book, it's called The Jungle. So his book was called The Jungle, and this book was about the meat packing industry. It's about the meat packing industry. And so what he did in his book is he actually worked undercover and went and spent time working in one of these factories where cows were slaughtered and turned into beef. And then he writes this book, The Jungle, and it's kind of a tell-all story. And he tells all these things that he saw, everything that he witnessed. And it freaks America out. So much so that 2 new laws get passed very, very quickly to stop this from happening. And so once again, guys, they're causing change. Now, are the things they're writing about good, heartwarming stories? No. Okay, absolutely not. But they're being written about for a purpose. And that purpose is to cause change. That's the big thing that I really want you guys to understand about the muckrakers. They're all about change.